History speaks of it as the earthquake beetle or the dragon beetle, but one name etched into ancient stone tablets echoes through myth and legend, and we have come to know it as Jinshin-Mushi, an ancient adversary of Godzilla with a rivalry as old as the earth itself. The myth of Jinshin-Mushi has been largely erased from history. Records of the encounters between the legendary Titan Godzilla have been difficult to find, limited to intricate paintings on ancient Phoenician stone tablets. But the more we learn about the mysterious superspecies, our knowledge about the MUTOs we have previously encountered increases. The ancient Japanese bestowed upon her the name Jinshin-Mushi, translating to the earthquake beetle, in honor of her unique capabilities to induce earthquakes and her insect-like appearance. Officially designated as Titanus Jinshin-Mushi, she shares her species with the MUTOs. Monarch, recognizing her towering size and heightened power in comparison to the typical MUTOs, has christened her MUTO Prime. While sharing the same hunched posture as a regular female MUTO, the MUTO Prime possesses several major traits that easily distinguishes her. The MUTO Prime is significantly larger than a regular female MUTO, has a hardened outer shell covered with razor-sharp back spires, massive clawed forelimbs covered in orange scales and spikes, as well as several smaller pairs of forelimbs protruding from her abdomen. Her forelimbs take on this orange coloration due to her lava-like blood superheating them. Prime's jaws are more defined, along with larger and sharper mandibles. Her exoskeleton is metallic black in colour, and she possesses two red visor-like eyes. Protruding from orifices in her skull are four arrow-shaped ovipositors with an orange bioluminescent hue. Unlike regular female MUTOs, Prime walks on 4 legs instead of 6, as it appears that some limbs were fused during the process of metamorphosis. The hind limbs are tridactyl, ending in 3 claws as opposed to the hoof-like toes of regular MUTOs. Though her exact height is never stated, MUTO Prime was much larger than Dagon. She was also 50% heavier than Godzilla. MUTO Prime is classified by Monarch as having the behaviour of a destroyer. Being the natural predator of his species, she appeared to have an ancient rivalry with Godzilla. Like the regular MUTOs, Prime's main goals revolved around consuming radiation to gain strength and reproduction. MUTO Prime was only seen attacking humans to obtain sources of radiation or when provoked, and didn't seem to kill out of pure malice. When her eggs have been safely deposited inside a host, they emit a unique sonic frequency known as the drums of Raijin, which causes MUTO Prime to switch from fight to flight and retreat underground. Jinshin-Mushis, more often referred to as MUTO Primes, are matriarchs of the MUTO superspecies and are the final stage in a female MUTO's life cycle, as theorized by Dr. Emma Russell. The evolutionary purpose of a MUTO Prime is to infect other Titans with its parasitic eggs, which would eventually end up killing the Titan host and spawning the smaller, invasive MUTOs. Godzilla's species, in particular, was common prey for a MUTO Prime, which has driven them to the brink of extinction. Through millions of years of evolution, MUTO Primes evolved various traits to become the perfect matchup for Godzilla's species, becoming almost custom-built to counter attacks from the Gojira. MUTO Primes target Titanus Gojira due to them being the biggest, best hosts for their young. The history of MUTO Prime as we know it. Around the year 1100 BCE, MUTO Prime encounters a member of Godzilla's species, referred to as Dagon by Monarch. The two titans engage in a ferocious battle. Almost immediately, she gains the upper hand, beating down Dagon, but not fully killing him. Using her ovipositors, she inserts 2 eggs into the stomach lining of the wounded Titan, leaving them to feed off of his nuclear-rich blood while he still lives. In the year 2014, MUTO Prime resurfaces and attacks a naval base in Guam, attracted to the payloads of the nuclear submarines stationed there. She lifts a submarine with her mouth and crushes it in her mandibles before Godzilla rises from the ocean to stop her. The two have a brief fight before MUTO Prime retreats, burrowing deep underground. MUTO Prime would eventually travel to a bunker to feed on the nuclear material stored there. As she approaches the bunker, Godzilla arrived and rammed her to the ground. She quickly rises to her feet and the two Titans proceed to violently pummel and wrestle with each other. While fighting, MUTO Prime releases a sonic roar so powerful that it shatters some of Godzilla's dorsal plates. Emma and Tarkin rush into the bunker and activate a device that blares the sonic pulses, which effectively distract Prime. With the massive parasite distracted, Godzilla grabs and lifts her onto his back, before releasing a massive nuclear pulse from his dorsal plate, sending her soaring into the air and causing limbs to break off. MUTO Prime falls from the sky and slams back onto the ground, heavily wounded. Before she can react, Godzilla crushes her head with a devastating stomp, killing her. With his ancient rival finally defeated, Godzilla makes his way back into the ocean, radiating a pure nuclear energy cloud from his back, not only killing his ancient rival, but avenging his fallen brother. The MUTO Prime possessed tremor-inducing legs, which made her capable of producing massive earthquakes. By slamming the ground with her forelimbs, MUTO Prime could trigger shockwaves that would destabilize nearby fault lines in the Earth. As explained by Dr. Emma Russell in Godzilla Aftershock, MUTO Prime triggered these massive earthquakes to lure out members of Godzilla's species into the fight they cannot win. Prime was able to claw and tunnel through the Earth's crust with ease, with her underground travels often being mistaken as natural seismic activity. Prime's jaws are evolved for grinding and breaking rocks while digging tunnels. MUTO Prime's titanic forelimbs were covered in superheated spikes, and both ended in 3 hook-like claws. Additionally, she had several pairs of forelimbs underneath her abdomen, which all ended in sharp claws used for hacking and stabbing prey. As with the standard MUTO adults, these claws were capable of easily slicing through Godzilla's tough hide and drawing blood. MUTO Prime's blood itself contains lava, which superheats her forelimbs to near transparency. Unlike the MUTO Prime had a hardened tank-like outer shell with sharp spires on her back. This spiked armoured shell served mostly as protection, as Prime was not seen utilising it offensively. Throughout her battles with Godzilla, she only suffered negligible damage and had to be defeated through a powerful nuclear pulse via Godzilla's shattered dorsal plates. Like all Titans, she can survive gravitational inversion, a planet's worth of gravity reversed within a split second. Being a parasite, the MUTO Prime reproduced by inserting her eggs into the stomach lining of a suitable Titan host through ovipositors guided by traces of uranium in the host's blood. Then, the eggs settle within the muscular tissue and incubate, slowly feeding on the nuclear-rich hemoglobin in the host's blood, and eventually killing it by draining its atomic energy. After growing for sometimes up to centuries, 2 larval MUTOs, a male and a female, will hatch and mature before beginning to breed rapidly with other MUTOs, creating a breeding force capable of quickly overwhelming life on Earth. It is stated by Dr. Emma Russell that any female MUTO can eventually metamorphose into a MUTO Prime if one does not exist or if circumstances demand it. The MUTO Prime was able to release a powerful sonic roar, which was so powerful that the sound waves easily shattered Godzilla's dorsal plates. MUTO Prime's eyes would also glow red when she used the sonic roar, similar to how Godzilla's eyes glow blue when he uses atomic breath. The sonic roar itself caused seismic instability, for it evolved to specifically resonate and shatter Godzilla's dorsal plates through harmonic resonance. The MUTO Prime's legs are notably powerful enough to cause tremors strong enough to be heard for miles with each step, and destabilizes fault lines with a mere punch. Through her life, MUTO Prime had killed several members of Titanus Gojira. no easy feat for any Titan, and successfully planted her eggs inside their bodies. Her forelimbs were able to knock Godzilla himself back in one hit, temporarily staggering him. Due to her lava-like blood, her forelimbs were covered in superheated spikes and scales from her shoulders to her wrists, adding extra power and damage to her punches. At first weakened by several millennia of hibernation, she avoided prolonged combat with Godzilla, which indicates a certain level of intelligence. However, after steadily consuming more radiation, she grew more powerful with each encounter. But even at her peak, she preferred to utilize her seismic abilities as an easier and quicker way of subduing Godzilla, which indicates a certain level of hyper-awareness in tactics. Her last fight with Godzilla, she used the sonic roar to bring him down, and she would have infected Godzilla had she not been distracted by the Orca device. MUTO Prime as well had the ability of swimming. She was able to swim underwater quite efficiently, using her massive forelimbs to propel herself through the water, and it is assumed that she was a fast swimmer, as even the amphibious Godzilla himself could not catch her as she swam away from him. So here concludes this Monarch file. We can easily see that the MUTO Prime is indeed custom built, near perfect in its evolutionary progress to take down Gojira.